Remember how I was saying there was a creek that also, like, sometimes it spills over and fills up water up that way? So imagine a pool of water like this, but maybe about half the size. Imagine like it stopped flowing into here and it just was a evaporating pool. And it was over there. There were 2 alligator gars in there, and I mean, pretty much they were going to die. And there was no one else here that morning that I showed up. And all I could think was, well, I might as well see if I can move them, because the pool wasn't that big. And there were 2 of them in there. And so I found a reed, from somewhere nearby. And I just kind of scared them towards the edge of the pool. And one of them, sure enough, almost beached itself.
Yeah.
And basically I went to go grab it. And carefully, because they have those long snouts.
Yeah, they have spines on the back, and they have spines on their back too.
The spine, well, these are interesting. It's mostly, and you're right, I was cautious of that because I've heard, that fish can puncture you with their fins or whatever. But what was interesting is how solid, the scales of those things are.
Yeah, they're heavy fish.
And so I grabbed it, and it was still a fish, so it had a little bit of slip to it.
Yeah.
And so it wriggled and slipped its way out. And so I looked around, there's no one here, so I pulled my shirt off, and I used my shirt as the grippy part. And I grabbed one, put him in the river, and I went to get his friend, and his friend was a little bit more...
reluctant to leave?
Energetic, yeah, that's a good way to put it too. But when I got his friend over there, the first one had almost died. It basically was starting to keel over. And the second one was like frantically looking for it, and it couldn't tell where it was. It's like as if, somehow they knew something about where each other was. And I told Kim the only way I could wake it up was, the one that was keeled over, I was like, you're not going to die. It took me too much work to put you over there. And so I had to try to wake it up. So I got little pebbles, not quite this big, and I tried to, smack it awake. And one of them finally popped in on the side, and it moved just a little. And as soon as it moved, I saw the other one, and the other one was probably... So the first one was where that person is crouched down, and it was just sideways right there. And the reason I didn't go and handle it in person is because there was mud there too, and I had almost lost a shoe during the same event. Anyway, as soon as it moved, the other one, which was probably more towards the center, it was still close to the bank. It was like looking around, like really agitated. As soon as that one moved, it turned around and started, facing that direction. And then that fish kind of like moved a little bit more, and then it just it's like it honed in on it, and it went straight for it. And as soon as it touched the other fish kind of like backed out of the mud, and then they both swam off. Probably about 10 minutes later, they both came up, and one of them popped up out of the water and then went back down, and then they just continued on their way.
Down that way. The water runs this way. Okay.
I think they typically hang out right around this whole area, though, where the reeds are. Because I think that this is where all the life is.
I don't know what I don't think they're like catfish. I don't think they're bottom feeders.
No, but they definitely are some tough fish. And in doing some research, I